In this screencast, we're going to be taking a look at creating icons using Pixlr. Now, the icon is a great thing to have in your site. It makes it very professional looking, and it also helps to mark different thematic sections of your site. Before we actually look at Pixlr, I think it's important we just take a quick look at what others have done. And you can see here that this site here, it's allfreedownload.com, has a free icon section. So if we were to come here, and in my case, I might want to search digital video. So I'll type in digital video. And you can see that it's got a bunch of images and logos and stuff that I could use in my site. So I'm just going to go down here and I'll click on digital high def. You can see you've got cameras, and some are more icon-like here, where it's very, very simple in design, and others are more sophisticated. So, and I'll just do a quick search of audio, which is another area I'm interested in. And you've got classic buttons that you could use. You've got cassette tapes. So this is a great place to start when you begin to design your icons. Now what I've done here is to create 3 icons that I could use on my site. And what I did was, in my masthead that I created, I used the silhouette of a monitor. And I thought it might be nice to carry that theme throughout with my icons. So these are the 3 sections I was interested in creating icons for: digital video, digital audio, and digital photo. And so I used the colors, that were in my masthead. I even used, if you look, there's a keyboard that's faintly, visible in the background. I put that same keyboard in on these icons. Now these are fairly large for an icon. Typically they're square, and typically there's not text in an icon. But in this case, I thought it would be okay, and I'll be using these in a site and maybe even in the corner of a text in a printed document. So it's designed just a little bit differently. Okay, so to begin, I'm going to open up Pixlr and just give you an idea how I created these guys. So here's Pixlr. I'm going to create a new image, and the size I used was 300 by 190 pixels. Click OK. So here's my image size, and the first thing I wanted to do was to really bring in that blue color that matches my masthead. So what I'm actually going to do is open up the masthead itself. So here are some work files that I've put together. I have a masthead. I'll open that up. I'll pull that down here. So here's the color I'm interested in. And I also had 2 other images that I'm going to work with. One is a keyboard, and this is the keyboard that you could see in the background here, very faintly. And the last image I have is a video camera. So, and I'm actually not going to use this photo, but I'm going to use this photo and trace it. So, and that's what I'm really interested in showing you today, is how to use these layers to create an original piece of work. So the first thing I'm going to do is to pull this blue color out of this image and use it as a background color for my icon. So I'm just going to move these out of the way slightly, and I'm going to use this color chip here. If I click on this, set main color, I can use the eyedropper tool to select the blue that I want to use. So see, if I come over here, it'll select a darker blue, and I'm going to choose a lighter blue in here. And then I'll click OK. And then with this selected here, this color, I'm going to go up and use the paint bucket, and I could just click and fill the background. So now I have that blue. Now I could actually get rid of this. The only reason I opened this was to get that color. Now the next thing I want to do is, for my background, I wanted to add this keyboard just so it's visible. So basically what I want to do is import this in and then adjust the opacity settings so that it's barely visible. So to do that, I can click on this in my layers palette here, I can click and hold on the background layer and let go over my document. And there it is. It's inside now. So I can position it how I want it. And then what I'm going to do is down here, you can see that if I, oops, down here I have my opacity setting. Right now it's at 100%. I'm going to adjust it down to about 20%, 21% is fine. Or I could actually type right in here, 20. And that's perfect. So now I have a nice background to work with. And then the next thing I wanted to do is to bring in this video camera. So again, I'll click on it to open this document. I'll click on it here and then it activates this document. I'm going to click and hold on the background layer, drag it on top of my new document and let go. See, now I have the camera in there. And I can get rid of this and I can also get rid of the keyboard. I'm done with those. Okay, so the first thing I could do here is this is just a little big because I know I'm going to have text down here. So I'm going to make this just a hair smaller. And to do that, I can go up to Edit, Free Transform, and I'm just going to make that a little smaller like that. Hit Enter on my keyboard to commit to that. Okay, that's perfect. So I'm going to zoom in. Whoa, not that much. I'll zoom in like that, say. Maybe a little more. There we go. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, first of all, a layer to work on. I'm going to basically draw on top of this. So basically, I want to trace this camera. So what I'll do is add a layer on top here, and you can see there's nothing on this layer. If I turn these off, you'll see it's just a clear layer. And this is the layer I'm going to draw on. And what I'm also going to do, just to make this a little easier, is I'm going to add another layer that I'll delete after I'm done, and I'm just going to fill it with white. Okay, so now if I turn on my camera layer, you can see that I can adjust this opacity on this to bring it down. So now I can see the camera, but I can also see when I'm drawing on top of it. So I'm going to quickly do this to give you an idea. I'm going to use the selection tools here. I'll use the rectangle marquee tool and I'll use the lasso tools and I'll create my silhouette. I'll choose black for a color. Click OK, and I could use the paint bucket. Now I don't want to fill this layer. What I want to do is make sure I'm on this top layer that's empty right now. And I can go ahead and start to design my camera. And I'm going to go relatively quickly here so you can just get an idea. Basically, I'm just plotting points around like that. Okay, and then I'll fill that. Nice, and then I'm just going to work on this lens a little bit here. Like this. Fill that. Maybe one more. Okay. There, I think you get the idea. So now I'm going to go up to Edit, Deselect All, and then I'm going to turn off the camera layer. So now you can see that I've got this video camera basically by just tracing the layer underneath it, which was this layer. So now I can actually trash this layer. So I'm going to click on that background layer, click on the trash can, and it disappears. I'll turn this layer back on, and I can trash the white layer as well because I'm not really going to use that layer. Now if I look at the actual size of this, you can see this starting to look pretty cool. I've got this video camera I can reposition, and so the only thing I have left to do is to type in digital video. Okay, and I'll position that a little better, and I did apply an effect to this type. So what I'm going to do is go ahead down here to the layer styles, click outer glow, select it, and right now the outer glow is this dark blue. I want to change that to white. I'll click OK. And I can adjust the hardness, the size, and the opacity. So I'm going to increase the size. You can see how now it's definitely getting a nice glow. And that's really too much, so I'm going to turn down the opacity slightly. Maybe the hardness just a little bit. Well, 2 is good actually. And a little more size, and there you go. Now click OK. So the final thing I need to do is save this. So I'll go up to File, Save, and here I'll make the decision whether I want to have it be a JPEG or a PNG or a bitmap, or I could save the layers by saving a layered Pixlr image. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and save it as a JPEG, and I can adjust the quality setting, and I'm going to just go ahead and leave it at 80%, and I'll click OK. And then I can navigate to my icons folder, and I'll save it as digital video and save. And that's it, my first digital video icon.